in the kind of things we invest in as Muslims now, right? We invest in Muslim institutions, right? Or we two kinds of things Muslims generally invest in. We invest in community institutions around the world. So there's a local masjid, whether it's a masjid in Pakistan or a masjid in England, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a masjid in America or Australia, it doesn't matter. It's an institution. We spend to support and build those institutions. Sometimes they're educational institutions, worship institutions, etc., etc. Or we primarily spend on crisis, right? There's some kind of crisis going on in the ummah and we're trying to help as best we can and we're spending on, and these both we call fi sabilillah. Like the common language we use now for that is fi sabilillah. I want to help you understand fi sabilit taghut so you can understand fi sabilillah. The fi sabilit shaitan, so you understand fi sabilillah. There are campaigns around the world that spend billions of dollars, sometimes trillions of dollars, not on institutions, not on houses, not on buildings, not on infrastructure, not on relief work. You know what they spend on? They call it the Hearts and Minds campaign. They want to impact the education system in a country. They want to influence the media in a country. They want to film the production of movies that have certain kind of messages because they want certain things to become normal. So there will be billions being spent on normalizing something like the LGBT. And multiple top actors, producers, Netflix, Amazon, top engines in Hollywood are going to be paid top dollar to produce, films, children's movies. Like the Barbie movie was a really interesting example of that recently. Lots of money being poured in for certain kinds of messages because they understand something. They understand the way to build power in the world is to flood people with a message. Keep giving them a message. The first time they hear it, they'll be like, that's disgusting. I don't agree. But the millionth time they hear it, that will become their new normal. Keep giving it to them. Keep giving them a message. Pour the message onto them over and over and over and over again. It's literally like, الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. He keeps whispering and keeps whispering and keeps whispering. It's literally like زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم. The devil beautified their deeds for them. The deed is ugly, but the devil will do enough propaganda that ugly starts becoming beautiful. And your mindset about it changes because you're exposed to it so much. What was the objective of the Quran? One of its objectives. سَالَتْ أَوْدِيَةٌ بِقَدَرِهَا. The Quran flooded the valley of Makkah. Everybody's hearing Quran. Even people who hate the Quran are hearing the Quran. They're hearing it. By the way, you know who understands that a lot better than we do? Christians do. Christians don't spend nearly as much on building a church as they do on spreading Christianity. They spend billions on spreading the gospel, sending preachers out into the villages in Indonesia to talk to these poor Muslims and bring them to Jesus. And you can hate that all you want, but they actually invested time and money because they believe in their message. They believe in spreading of the message. What we haven't done, what we haven't realized is we were supposed to propagate the word of Allah. It's the word of Allah that created such a problem for Makkah that they thought the only way to stop this problem is by killing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The thing that made Islam an unbearable problem for them was the Quran was spreading. That was the unbearable problem. And the Quran was spreading to all three segments of society. The Quran was spreading to the top elites of society, the smartest people in that society, the poets, the politicians, the billionaires. They were hearing about the Quran and it was hitting them. Then it was the middle of society, the majority, the middle class, they were hearing it, and the poorest of society, and the Quran was talking to them too. All three were being targeted by the Quran. And when that was happening, enough people from each, even if one or two people from the top, a bunch of people from the middle, a bunch of people from the bottom, if every segment of society starts coming towards Allah's book, that becomes dangerous. This is too much. They were ready to break their own rules. You know what their rules was? We don't kill our own tribes people. We kill other people's tribes people. We don't kill our own. And Makkah is a safe place. We don't kill nobody in Makkah. Haraman aminan. That's actually why all the tribes put their idols there, because it's like Switzerland. You're safe there. It's a neutral zone. Who are they willing to kill? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who are they willing to torture? The Sahaba. In the same place where everybody's supposed to be safe. They're willing to break their own rule. Why? Because it's too dangerous. It's too much. Now, the thing is, when the Muslim mind understands that we are spending on good things, we're spending on our children, we're spending on schools, we're spending on masajid, we're spending on institutions, we're spending on these civilizational things. But you know what we're not collectively spending on? Spreading the word. Getting the word. That was actually the فَلْيُبَلِّغِ الشَّاهِدَ الْغَائِبِ. Get the word out, let everybody hear. That actually also requires an investment. And it doesn't just require an investment of money. وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا جَعَلَكُمْ مُسْتَخْلَفِينَ فِيهِ. Many of the people that are sitting here in this masjid right now are only sitting here because somebody was willing to go out of their way and spread the word of Allah in ethnicities, in countries, in regions where Islam was alien to them. We weren't born into Muslim heritage. You go far back enough in my heritage, it ties to Afghanistan, far back enough we're probably Buddhist or some other pagan religion. That's probably what we are. You go far back enough in any of your heritages, you'll run into non-Muslim origins, right? How did it even get there? Some people understood there's a mission here that needs to spread. And they understood that to be fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah. I know I said 5 minutes, 2 more minutes. And that is, what does the Quran actually do to a person? Interestingly, this is the example of spending on this mission is being described as farming. So even if you're spreading the word of Allah and you're like, oh, there's so much da'wah going on, but there's still so much corruption, nothing is changing. Yes, very nice. You should have said that to Nuh alayhi salam. He was spreading a lot of da'wah for 950 years. Was corruption changing? No, but he still understands that's his mission, isn't it? Rasulullah is spending so much time giving the best da'wah possible. The Quran itself, from the mouth of the recipient of the Quran in Mecca, and things are not getting better, things are getting worse. You should have been standing there, so much da'wah, what changed? What's the point? This is for the what's the point people. Just, why don't you take this comment back to what our deen actually teaches? The point isn't for you to see results. The point is for you to plant a seed. And the return on that seed, you're not expecting it here. Your job is to plant the seed. And the way that Allah will grow that seed here and in the next life, and when He will grow it, that's up to Him. That's not up to us. You could plant a seed now, and maybe it grows 50 years from now. You could plant a seed now, and maybe Allah decides to grow it 200 years from now. Is that possible? Yeah. Absolutely, it's possible. You could plant a seed now, and because you didn't have the right intention, it dies underneath. Nothing happens with it. That can happen too. It's not up to us. But you know, in any person, when the seed of Iman goes inside them, something starts growing inside them. And that's why in Surah Al-Fath, the same way investing in this mission is being described as farming, the same way the development of a believer is being described as farming too. So at the end of Surah Al-Fath, Allah compares the development of a believer to a crop that is growing carefully, and a farmer is carefully growing and producing this crop. And it's maturing, right? There's a tie between both of these things, because our purpose is actually not an economic purpose or a social or a political, kind of identified agenda. Our objective is the transformation, the growth of a human being, to take the seed of fitrah that lies inside every human being and allow it to grow, allow it to flourish. So it's an agenda of transformation. The greatest miracle of the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ is the transformation of those people. They transformed into something completely different than what they were before, because the seed of Iman was inside and it grew into something incredible. You know, يُعْجِبُ الزُّرَّاعَ لِيَغِيظَ بِهِمُ الْكُفَّارِ. That's the mission that we all share, actually. And even the institutions that we build. May Allah protect our masajid, our schools, our da'wah institutions, our Islamic educational organizations. But now we need to have a shared agenda. And that shared agenda is bringing about a transformation through the word of Allah. If the word of Allah isn't at the center, if the word of Allah isn't being shared, then what's even the point? It's a tragedy to me that we can build the house of Allah everywhere in the world, and for generation after generation after we build the house of Allah, children from that community don't know the word of Allah. Forget the non-Muslims. The Muslim kids in those communities for generations, if you say, hey, can you tell me what's in Surah Al-Baqarah? I don't know, we don't do that. I know how to make wudu though. I can show you that. I'm pretty good at wudu. Okay, wudu is important, that's cool. but the wudu is a means to something. I know how to pray. What do you say in the prayer? I don't know, we didn't learn that. I just know what to say. Okay, what does it mean that you say? I don't know. I'm not a scholar. Ask the sheikh. This is our mind, this is our attitude. How are we expecting everybody else to be impressed with this message and we're not even giving the message to our coming generations? How's that going to happen? We need to come back to those roots. We need to plant the seeds properly. And may Allah Azza wa Jal multiply every one of our efforts in ways we couldn't imagine. Some of our efforts, you're not going to see any results of them in this dunya, you'll only see them in the akhirah. Some of the things you spend, you might even see some effect of it in this dunya. Some of those efforts, your children's might see the effect of them. And then there are some efforts that are so huge that you didn't see or nobody saw, but it was related to you, and you come before Allah on Judgment Day, and that one seed, everything else grows, and this one thing is going up into the sky. You're like, what is this? Oh, that was something you did. That was one seed you spent. This is Wallahu yudha'ifu liman yasha. We don't know which of our deeds Allah will multiply with an extra special flavor of His. That'll turn into something else. But I pray all of us and all of the sadaqat that we do, the infaq that we do, the mindset with which we do it is something accepted by Allah Azza wa Jal. And I pray that we are able to come closer and closer to a unified agenda as Muslims. So we don't see our organizations as competing with each other. We see them as part of delivering a message to the entire world where we learn to cooperate with each other. We learn to take best practices from each other. Instead of, oh, this masjid, oh, they bought that property, oh, we got to get a bigger place. Or this school has this many kids, we got to get more kids in our school. And stop thinking of these efforts as competition. You know, if it's one agenda, then it's not competition, it's cooperation. Allah says about the kuffar, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. They are wali. Remember I started with this? They're wali to each other. We were supposed to be الْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. We're supposed to have that wilaya. And we're supposed to have more of it. They cooperate with each other because they hate Islam. You're supposed to cooperate with each other because you love this deen. You have love for the word of Allah. So may Allah Azza wa Jal truly make us awliya to each other. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim. Wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayat wa dhikr al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum everyone. There are almost 50,000 students around the world that are interested, on top of the students we have, in studying the Quran and its meanings and being able to learn that and share that with family and friends. And they need sponsorships, which is not very expensive. So if you can help sponsor students on Bayyinah TV, please do so and visit our sponsorship page. I appreciate it so much and pray that Allah gives our mission success and we're able to share the meanings of the